I had something pretty interesting happen to me earlier this week, and I basically went on an attack. I got the oil changed on my truck, and when we popped the hood, I'd seen two wires that were just chewed to no end. It was like the bloody thing was starving to death. Was it a mouse? Was it a rat? I don't know. Could have been either. But I didn't want to take a chance. And then I thought, I'd done reviews on these things here. These basically, they electrocute the rat. And YouTube took my videos off because they were too graphic. So we're not going to put any pictures of rats. We're just going to talk about these, and you're just going to have to take my word for it because of YouTube's TOS. I've tested these two rat traps myself personally, and I'm going to give you my views on why I have both kinds. Now, you could use poison, and a lot of people, they'll tend to go to poison. And believe it or not, there are certain poisons on Amazon that if you buy them, they will not work. You're basically just feeding them. There's a particular chemical that has to be in them to kill the rats. You'll see it in the comment section, people talking about it. And it just seems like Amazon is getting to be such a... You really got to be careful, like you're going through a landmine to find out if you're getting decent products from there anymore or if you're not. The quality on Amazon is just horrible. Now, rats are smart, and they're dangerous to you and your family. So, let's think about this. I was laying on the couch the one day, and I seen a rat come down my stairs from upstairs, across the hallway, into the living room. And in the living room was 8 dogs, all sprawled out, laying on the floor, the couch, everywhere. This rat walked all between them like an obstacle course, got a couple pieces of dog food, and literally walked back and went right up the stairs again. I was like, well, look at that gutsy bugger. Now, maybe the dogs think it's a dog, because it was a pretty big rat. It was about half the size of that Pomeranian. I couldn't believe it. And of course, I'm like, well, that's got to come to an end. But if I had not seen him, I wouldn't have even known we had rats. I didn't see no rat droppings anywhere. I mean, you probably have them. Most people probably have them and don't even know they're in their house. And I'm not kidding. They are really smart animals. Now, they're afraid of people. And they'll only come out at night, and they're like ninjas. They really are. Now, some people use poison. And if you put poison in your house, that does work. The problem with that is the rat eats it. Okay, yes, we're going to kill the rat if you buy the right stuff, but then it dies between the walls. And now it takes 3 to 4 weeks to decay, and, flies land on it, maggots, whatever, and you're going to have to smell that for a month. You're not going to tear apart your wall, so not a good thing. Your other option is traps. Now, I had this idea that for my truck, I was going to coat my wires with the hottest sauce I could buy. And I bought some. It was like $10. Hasn't come in yet. I'll probably send it back. But I found this guy's YouTube channel in the meantime, and he does actual tests. I mean, he actually did a test with the sourest chemical he could find, the hottest, the sweetest. I mean, he did all kinds of tests, and it didn't bother the rats at all. Apparently, the sourest stuff is used in the bait, which rats love. They like sour-tasting food. And the hot sauce didn't work either. Where if you put even a dab of that on your tongue, you'd be on your knees crying. So obviously the tongues of a rat are not the same as that of a human. They are mammals. They do have babies alive, so obviously it's different. Now, the only way I have found to get rid of rats is to kill them. There's no other way. Okay? And they're not an easy animal to kill unless you spend some money. I mean, you could buy a regular rat trap, and they're pretty big. And then when you set them, okay, you're worried about your fingers getting caught if they accidentally go off. Those are not fun to work with at all. Now, these two traps I have in front of me, they work like a dream. They have been catching rats, and they work. And I'll have links in the bottom if you want to pick them up. But let me talk about what's the difference. Which one may work for you. If you believe you do not have that many rats, and you may have 1, 2, and you have to keep in mind when a rat has a family, I mean, how many do they have? 7, 10, 12? I mean, the baby's just, and then sooner or later when you do see a rat, you're like, oh my God, we got 1 rat. No, if you're seeing a rat, you probably got a good 20 or more inside your house and you're not even aware of it. So what I've done is I would probably say this is probably the best and humane trap to buy. But it does have problems. Now, I find these work for about 2 years, and then sometimes they break. And I had one do that. I contacted the company. They did send me a new one. They didn't have to. You know, it was all off in warranty. We just put a little bit of dog food in the back. We push one button, drop some dog food in the back, set it down. That's it. That's all we do. And this thing catches rats and mice, is what it does. And then all you gotta do is look at it. You'll see its tail hanging out the back. You'll go, oh, got a rat. Pick up the container, dump it in the garbage, and you're done. And the rat was probably killed within seconds because of it being electrocuted. Which runs off 4C batteries, probably a big heavy capacitor that releases the charge. So this works pretty good, but it's not that reliable, and it runs off batteries. Those are the 2 things that are a little quirky about it. But you don't have to touch it. You know, you don't have to do a whole lot to get rid of the rat. And probably 90% of the people are going to like this one. This one will catch rats, squirrels, chipmunks. It'll catch a lot of small animals. And it's easy to set. Put a little bit of peanut butter on the back there. And when they step on it, it closes. But the rat is still alive, running around inside the cage. A lot of people ain't going to like that. How do you dispatch them when you catch them alive? Well, fill up a 5-gallon pail full of water, drop the cage in it. The cage will actually submerge all the way to the top with a tiny bit above it. And with approximately 3 minutes or less, the rat will pass. Sometimes it's 2 minutes, sometimes it's 3 minutes. And you'll see him drown and then float to the bottom of the pail. So this one would probably bother people. But this one doesn't really have battery operation. Probably last you your lifetime. You'll be able to use it over and over and over. It'll probably never break compared to this one. So I guess it comes down to, if you buy this, save your receipt. If you buy this, you don't have to worry so much. But don't expect this one, this electric one, to last forever. But it does make it much easier for getting rid of them. I'll have both at the bottom linked up. They do work. I have caught rats in both. This one I've been running for about 2 years. It hasn't broke yet, but I did have another one break because I had 2 of them. This I have 2 of them because I have an upstairs and a downstairs. And I've been setting them all. And just last week I caught a rat in this one, and I caught a rat in this one. And I did dispatch it in a 5-gallon pail of water, which will probably upset some people. Now, I don't like anything about them. I don't need one of them biting one of my dogs and me having a vet bill, next thing you know, to $500 or $600. And these live in my house now. They're set all the time. And another thing this one does that this one doesn't do is it will catch mice with this one. We've been catching mice lately with this one too. And everybody said that, oh, if you don't have mice, then you must have rats. And I've heard that terminology many times. Not true. Okay, I caught 2 rats and I caught 2 mice. So they were living in harmony perfectly. And why wouldn't they? They get the dog food for free. They don't need to eat each other. Apparently, mice are enemies of rats, but who knows? They were living together in my house. Now, I tend to get rats because, I mean, I've got 5 acres. I've got a wilderness behind me. I do get things a little bit more is what I get because there's every type of animal here. I mean, I've seen deer across the street from my house, and it's kind of like a little tiny town. I mean, I think I've got 12 raccoons running around, a possums. I mean, I pretty much have everything here. We even have to be careful when we go outside of the particular snakes that are here because we do have quite a few poisonous snakes. And we have to be careful of what we do. Like if we pile wood a certain way or if an area starts to become damp, we have to be aware of what we're doing all the time. But these work. So if you're considering and you're looking for something to remove rats, these are your two choices, and this is why. Myself personally, I do like the electric, but I don't like the idea when they break. And this was actually easy to set, this cage. Very easy. Took like 2 seconds. It wasn't hard. You're not going to get your fingers cut off with these traps. I mean, everything works pretty good. Now, some people would probably say, well, if you catch the rat alive, why don't you just go release it somewhere? For the poor little rat. Rats are very smart. I don't care if you drive 5 miles away from your house and you release that rat. It knows how to get back. It has a built-in sense of direction. If you cover this container, it will actually figure out its way back. And I'm not kidding. Cats are the same way, by the way. Cats actually have a built-in direction to get back too. And many animals do, unlike humans. So, to me, the best way is get rid of them. But I don't think you ever truly get rid of them because when you do, 6 months later, 3 months later, a new guy's going to show up. And that's all there is to it. So having them around, having them set constantly is a good thing. Now, inside my truck, I have the truck on top of the battery where they ate those wires. I have a little bit of rat poisoning there now. And if I haven't said it yet, the reason for that is because the Japanese cars are using what's called a soybean wiring on the harnesses. And soybean is food, so the rats are chewing it up. And most of your Japanese cars are like that. I believe they have some lawsuits against them. But the wiring I had used on my lights was 10 gauge wire, and that's what they actually chewed up. They didn't chew up any other wiring inside my Dodge Ram, which tells me they must be using a petroleum-based wiring inside my vehicle, where other vehicles don't. So, if anything, I would take a handful of rat poisoning and put it on top of your battery or on top of your, somewhere where it sits. And in case a rat gets up underneath your hood, he eats that and dies. Maybe stick one of these here, underneath your vehicle at night. Take it out during the day. Maybe have 1 or 2 of these in the house. I don't know. It's up to you. But one thing's for sure. If you don't have anything in your house to catch a rat, then you probably have them and don't even know it. So protect your family. Protect your house. Look into getting some of these. And really look into rats very seriously because there's nothing good about having them in your house or around your house. These work. I've used them. They're wonderful. I'll catch you guys on the next one.